The following is presented by the Cheeky Bastards.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Yippee Ki-Yay Motherfuckers, and welcome to the 23rd edition of Dropping a Bruce, the monthly podcast where we watch every single one of Bruce Willis's 40 straight-to-demand releases from his acting career to see if he took the role for a paycheck and dropped a deuce, or if in fact he took the role and gave it his all and dropped a Bruce. I am the Notorious Guy K.
And my name is Mr. Smith.
And together we'll be your hapless Slack John stewards on this 40-month journey to the lesser-known movies of Mr. Bruce Willis's filmography. This month's stop finds us with full-blown herpes, thanks to having contracted 23 STDs from Mr. Willis, as we review 2021's action thriller, Survive the Game. Not sure what game they're surviving, but apparently someone needs to survive a game. Just like our movie Survive the Night went into the day, mission accomplished. They survived the night. It's 2025, and what better way to start the new year off right than with a dried semen-filled fruitcake left over from Christmas, courtesy of our dear friends Bruce Willis and his sex-trafficking compadres, the fuckstains from EFO. Mr. Smith, I am confident that this is the kind of tedious and mundane fare we can expect for the remainder of this, are you ready, 17-month journey. We have just under a year and a half to go, so there's some positive. We're about to close out season 2.
I feel like I've said this before, but we may have reached a new low.
It's getting so hard to tell which one's the lowest anymore. It's just a derivative. I just don't know. I really am just kind of like, actually, I was able to make it through this one better than last month's, and we'll get into it in a little bit. I've always tried to say, don't go into movies with expectations. As you said to our good friend Jeff Schneasels over when he listens, I think he listens to this one too, but he listens to our Men of Action. And he said that, I forget what movie you were talking about on our socials, that he had expectations of a movie. And you said to him, it's not the film's fault that you had expectations. And listen, to be honest with you, it's not this film's fault that we have any expectations. I no longer.
You got to leave them at the door. You got to leave them at the door, man. You got to go in with a fresh.
I'm expecting it to be dog shit, and when it is, I'm like, admit my expectations. Like, I'm not upset anymore. There's just no reason to be. It's just what it's going to be. I just sit through these 90-something minute movies, and when they're done, try to remind myself, we're almost done. We're getting there.
Yeah, this was a tough 90.
Yeah, they lately have the 90 minutes we're starting to feel the weight of 90 minutes. Like, I'm almost like, where's the 80 minutes? Can we trim these a bit?
Jesus.
I mean, it's funny when you look at a 90+ minute film, and a lot of people don't realize it. When you say the running time is 97 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes of that is the end credits. So it's really 92 minutes, and that still feels like forever. It feels like we were watching The Lord of the Rings yesterday.
I was going to say, as a fan of The Irishman, I'm aware that's a long movie, but that seems shorter than this.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Titanic. I think Titanic's a colossal waste of a film. However, Titanic does seem to move at a clip compared to some of these 90-minute affairs. All right, well.
Dairy.
Before we get shot in the belly and play a seemingly endless game of grab-ass, it's time for our...
What you talking about, Willis?
Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
This movie was released in 2021, written by Ross Peacock and directed by James Cullen Bresick, starring Chad Michael Murray, Bruce Willis, Sven Temple, Michael Ciros, Kate Katzman, Zach Ward, Donna DeErico, Canyon Price, Sarah Romer, and Sean Cannon. With a running time of 97 minutes, it was made on a budget of $10 million and grossed $59,000 at the box office. It holds a 3 rating on IMDb, with 14 critics and 68 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. A cop gets injured during a drug bust gone wrong. His partner pursues the 2 culprits to a remote farm owned by Eric, a distressed veteran. Grindstone Entertainment and Lion Goods Films presents Survive the Game.
I've been chasing their boss forever. This might go south. Hell of a day, isn't it, partner?
Up here.
Go!
You let her go, Paige. Don't you touch my baby.
Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy.
You all need to leave.
Please, mister.
Who are you?
I'm a cop. These two just shot my partner down the road.
Run!
I need you to get to safety. These people will kill you.
This is my farm. They don't belong here.
Who are these guys?
They're drug dealers, scumbags.
You're my prisoner until my boss gets here.
I'm finishing this alone.
I will defend this land.
This is certainly a development. You came here to kill. Or did any of you not get the memo on that? Because evidently this cop did. I expect you and I aren't so different.
Nothing like you. I got shot today, and I'm tied up. And you still hit like a bitch.
You need my help. That's the house that I shared with my wife. That is all I've got left.
All right. Let's go save him.
I got your back. We kill or be killed.
Run! I gotta finish this.
You're under arrest.
Wrong place, wrong time.
I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna kill you.
I'm not going anywhere. This is my farm.
I will defend this land.
Mr. Willis plays Detective David Watson of the Who the Fuck Knows Police Department, who apparently has been hot on the heels of a local drug ring in Who the Fuck Knows USA. No one knows where this is. I have no notes that tell me where they filmed this. It's just somewhere in America, possibly, maybe not. We don't know a police department. We don't know where. We just know that it's somewhere. And that's all we need to know.
This was filmed in Bruce Willis's back garden, I think.
Look at how about this? For location, impressive location.
Not bad.
Like there's
Not
so
bad.
much you could have done with this film. This was an impressive location. I'll give him that.
Not to skip ahead, but this could all have been dealt with a match, you know. It's a
How about
house
this?
made of wood.
Most
you know,
of these
just
films
fucking
could have been dealt with a match.
Well, yeah.
A match would have solved all of it.
Or some C4, I don't know. But yeah, in this case, you know, if you need to flush people out of a wooden house, maybe use a match.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of grab ass running around. There's a maze. There's like a fucking. There is a labyrinth. The likes of the garden at the Overlook Hotel in Shining. It's quite a labyrinth of rundown weeds that we'll get into. Now, this is our 9th of 26 straight-to-video releases that we will cover over the next 5 years of Mr. Willis's no longer budgeting film career. This is the 4th of 7 straight-to-demand releases from just the year 2021. Now, my plot that I came up with, we'll see if I'm on the nose. A hasty and quite possibly illegal drug buzz goes wrong, causing Detective Watson, who, for unexplained reasons, decides to stand up and step out from behind cover, gets shot in the gut. What ensues is the slowest car chase ever filmed since the 1920s, followed by a game of hide and seek on a war veteran who has just lost his wife and child in a car crash he not only caused, but wasn't harmed at all in, secluded farm that you would need Google fucking Earth to fucking find. Detective Watson not only survives his gunshot wound to the stomach, but seems unaffected by it when the script requires him to do some much-needed action. In the end, you wish someone had called in an airstrike and napalmed the farm Apocalypse Now style. I give you, survive the game.
Well done. Well done. You put it very well. I didn't know he was a war veteran.
You didn't see him stand there, misty-eyed looking at his purple heart? No?
No, I didn't. I was probably crying by then. I was probably in tears, begging for it to all be over by that point.
Well, real-life husband and wife, Chad Michael Murray, known here as friend of the podcast, CMM, and Sarah Romer, star as husband and wife, Eric and Hannah. Hannah mostly in some very whited out flashback sequences. Bruce Willis and Simon Phillips, the man who is known as English, improvised most of their scenes together. Not a surprise, as Bruce can't remember shit. Once again, the folks at EFO trying to cut costs so they can spend more money on sex trafficking. The poster for this epic crime film uses the same photo of Bruce that was used from the poster of last month's Midnight in the Switchgrass. This is our second poster that we have used an image of Mr. Willis from a different film to help promote it.
This is true.
This film was originally, and is also known in other places, as Killing Field. Now, the script was written by popular YouTuber Ross Peacock, a.k.a. Rossatron. If that doesn't make the ladies moist, I don't know what will.
Just call me Rossatron, baby.
In no surprise, Bruce was nominated for a Golden Raspberry for his role in this film, which again was rescinded after they found he had aphasia, but hey, kind of deserved it.
Sometimes you deserve it.
Nikki Sixx's ex-Playmate wife and plastic surgery aficionado, Donna DeErico, was somehow cast in this film as a deadly badass. Not to be outdone, Zach Ward, a.k.a. Scut Farkas from A Christmas Story, surprisingly shows up in this film, and I want to thank him for his service. Tyler John Olson decided to sit this one out. However, he threw his hat into the producer ring for this film.
He's learned so much.
Yes. Now, fans of director James Cullen Bressick rejoice as we have another film of his to look forward to, that being Fortress, early in Season 3. And fans of Chad Michael Murray's CMM, or CM Squared if you're nasty, fear not, he will make 2 more appearances in Season 3 in the aforementioned Fortress and its probably tense sequel, Fortress Sniper's Eye. Ooh, Season 3 and 4, folks. We got a sequel and we got a trilogy. Hold on to your titties. It's going to get rocky. Now, on Letterboxd, writer Ross Peacock, a.k.a. Rossatron, writes, true story. When I sold this script for this movie called Killing Field, it was about a widowed lady in her 50s. By the time it came out, she had become Chad Michael Murray. One day I'll make a YouTube deep dive into when I made a geezer teaser. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that because I have a lot of questions because there's not a lot of stuff out there. And finally, Zachary on Letterboxd wrote, and I echo this sentiment, I love you, Bruce, but I don't know if I can do this anymore. I think some time apart is best. 1.5 stars. I feel like that's how we'll end the series. I love you, Bruce, but I'm going to need a detox.
We're through. We're through.
Ooh, we start the movie in grand fashion. And there was a movie you and I watched a couple months back. I think it was 10 Minutes Gone. Or no, it wasn't 10 Minutes Gone. It was the one with Frank Grillo. It's the one where Bruce wakes up as the movie goes, and he's in the warehouse watching a guy, and we think, oh, fuck, he's going to knock something over. Well, lo and behold, we got our wish. As we open this movie, we're thrown into a drug bust, apparently. 2 characters show up to talk to another character in a warehouse. It looks like someone's uncle's warehouse that was closed for the weekend, and they got like an hour to film in it. And as most warehouses that have illegal contraband in them do, you gotta set your clay flower pots somewhere. Where else you gonna set them, right? I mean, where else you gonna set them? You set them on top of the contraband, just in case some schmo from the Po comes in and knocks it over. It's a cheap defense system, right? Like it's a cheap alarm system. Once again, we're saving costs here in the criminal world.
Effective though,
Very
cheap,
effective.
but
It falls, and next thing we know, gunfight. What this movie has is a lot of action, so I got to at least give it credit for that.
True.
It does action a little bit like our movie from last year that we really enjoyed with Paul Gasser.
Oh, Precious Cargo.
Yeah, like Precious Cargo. So it's just action for action's sake, but there's no real great characters to do it, and it's just farcical. But they just start shooting at each other, and bullets matter when they matter. Bruce Willis, who's a 30-year detective, he's a 30-year detective in every movie. I think he's the same guy. He just doesn't know it. I think this actually, at the end of the day, we're going to find out that the theory of this is Bruce Willis aphasia. This is a movie about his aphasia. He doesn't know that he's not in these things, that he's not this. This is what's going on in his mind. He's replaying a cop who's been at the same department for 30 years, but just the department moves to different locations. So he steps out behind cover, as you do when there's a firefight, exposing yourself from head to toe and firing at each other is probably as close as you and I would be if we were actually sitting in a room together. No one gets hit, nothing gets hit, and then all of a sudden Bruce gets hit in the gut, Mr. Orange style. I actually thought he's dead.
He did.
The movie's like, I was like, this is the thing we talked about. Bruce is done here. 5 minutes in the film, Bruce is dead, and we are without him.
I thought exactly the same thing. I thought, oh no.
And no, he somehow survives a gut shot wound that progressively gets better as the film goes along. Unlike Mr. Orange's in Reservoir Dogs, which gets progressively worse and he bleeds out, his gets better as he's able to not only get up, he's able to get into some hand-to-hand combat, he's able to shoot, although a couple times getting up and out of a chair seemed to be like he's confused what the next blocking was. He gets out of a chair, goes back to the chair.
Well, so at the beginning, as you've said, there's the shootout and Bruce gets hit, and then it mid-shootout, it cuts to the credits.
Shitty credits at that. They were not good credits.
Shitty credits. Similar, they're trying to go for the Sin City vibe with the animation.
The black and white.
Of so it cuts from the shootout, mid-shootout, to the credits. And then we're in the middle of a car chase. which, as you pointed out,
Well, it's more of like a very cautious drive through some winding roads. Like, I don't understand what they were thinking.
Winding road.
Now, we talked about on our Men of Action recently about The Road Warrior, where Mr. Miller had to speed up some of the film to make the car chases look a little faster. Pulled off pretty well. Like, honestly, like, you can see it, but it doesn't take away from the film. He also was very smart that he didn't show the fucking speedometer. I don't know who said, hey, let's show the speedometer, and then couldn't take a car and find just a road that no one was on. And for those scenes of the close-up of the speedometer, show them going at a fast speed. They showed it going from 20 to 40 miles an hour. I thought, are you fucking mental, my friends? What in the fuck is happening? And then who is the editing suite was like, yeah, let's add this in. Cut to something else. Anything else. You don't show the speedometer barely hitting 40.
No.
Like, what are you going through a school zone? What the fuck is happening?
And at that point, with that so-called car chase, it does look like that's shot on an Android phone or something as well. Actually, that's a bit of an insult to the camera on an Android phone, actually. But this looks...
It's an insult to cameras and period.
This looks poorly.
It's awful.
Mate, this is...
Oh, it's terrible. Once again, going to our theory that this movie is made to hide drug, sex
clearly.
trade money. It's all it is. It's washing sex trade money. It's all it can be. Because I don't know who it's made for.
So these two fucking Bonnie and Clyde, Hot Topics version of Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes. With freshly drawn on tattoos. Didn't even put any powder on them to make them look like Ben there. They look like someone had just spent an hour. How about this? The best part of the film is actually these drawn on tattoos. They actually looked decent. You know what I mean? Like everything else is kind of like, well, I don't know what the hell's going on. But yes, this was Hot Topic.
Yeah, so they do their 40-mile-an-hour car chase that goes on far longer than it should.
And of course, they're on some road that leads to, they just find the way to the top of a hill with some house. And literally, to find this house again, you'd have to find Google Maps. Like, there's no way, Google Earth. You have no way to find this.
They happen to stumble upon one of the most secluded houses.
Yes. Places ever.
And it just happens to be owned by a suicidal war veteran whose entire family had been killed in a car crash that he, as you've pointed out, miraculously came away unscathed from. Not even a scratch.
His daughter and wife are dead.
Fucking Bunny.
I don't know what he does for a living. He doesn't work the farm, because when we go through this little chase sequence of I don't know if it was a winery or whatever, everything's overgrown and dead. I don't know what the hell's going on. But he's sitting there, it's been 2 weeks since they've been dead, and he's just sulking around his house, and he stops quickly on the way up the stairs to stare at his Purple Heart so we know as the audience, because we need to be hit over the head with a hammer, that he's
a raging alcoholic, and he's drinking from a really small hip flask. No, that's not how you do these things.
Not only that, but him being a veteran has absolutely nothing to do with anything in the film. Like, most of the plot, you think, oh, he's a veteran. So I was like, okay, here we go. They're going to show up here, and he's going to John Rambo.
Well, he doesn't really show any military training either, does he?
No, he has zero military training. He probably got a Purple Heart because he got shot because he didn't know what he's doing.
He was as effective as I would be, I think, which is not...
Well, you know what it is? I think what it does is it does shine a little bit of a light on the real truth. And that, look, it's appreciative for people to be thankful for veterans, but I want to be honest with you, there are a lot of fucking dickweeds as veterans that don't do shit that are not great. They don't need to give them a day or salute them. And he's one of them. Everyone who's been in the military has a guy in their platoon, and he's that fucking guy. He got shot.
I've been cancelled enough as it is. I don't want to start going off on the American military.
Well, I mean, he, in a very sad moment while they're being chased, they decided to pause and have a moment with an absolute dog shit actor. Sven Temmel. Fuck Sven Temmel. He is awful. He is one of the worst actors in this fucking movie. And why he gets work, I don't know.
We've seen him, haven't we? We have seen him in a...
Yeah, he was in 10 Minutes Gone. He was in that shootout. Remember, he tries to do the whole Mr. Pink thing.
I think...
Yeah, he does the whole Reservoir Dogs thing in 10 Minutes Gone.
Yeah, I think he's in Midnight in the Switchgrass as well.
Oh, he's just dog shit. He's just absolute dog shit. But they have this little moment where he talks about how I was in Iraq and a roadside bomb blew up and I was in a body cast for a year. Like, what? What are you talking about? Why would you be in a body cast for a year? No bones take a year to set.
He's in
like,
fucking...
What are you talking about?
As well. He's in a...
Yeah, but he must have been cool. Yeah, but he didn't get front and center like this one. He's basically almost a co-lead in this thing.
Well, he's in a lot of these like Stallone straight to videos, Mel Gibson's. You know, he's been around a bit, but he sucks.
He must bring some primo coups. That must be why he keeps getting these jobs.
He's
'Cause
probably a
he's dog
stunt
shit.
man.
He's dog shit.
You know,
he's
like
a
stunt he can
cock.
just-
He's a
he'll-
douche.
he's an
He's
idiot. He'll throw
terrible.
himself through a window for the right.
Well, they need to do more. They need to take him up higher.
yeah,
throw
but
him
he's
farther.
a terrible cop, a terrible actor.
The whole plot is terrible. There is no plot. Bruce and him are sitting outside this thing. We see two douchebags. You said we see Hot Topic, Biff, and Cleo show up. For what reason, we don't know. They decided to go in there. We're not getting away. They have no warrant. They don't even go and say you're under arrest. They go in and they just knock a pot over and they start shooting at one another. And then Bruce Willis is somehow taken hostage by one of them. The other one runs away. Like, none of it makes sense. Apparently, during this slow old folks home parking lot sequence where they're trying to find a parking spot just in time to get for lunch, they chase each other up this hill into this secluded area. Apparently they've been tracked the entire time by their boss for reasons we don't know. And none of it makes sense. And then more people show up and they just chase each other around. And basically, this does become surviving the game, where basically the bad guys are just picked off one by one by Temmel at one point, as if he's Rambo. No one can see him. Like, it's absolute dog shit. They they bring Bruce with them to eventually kill him for their boss, who must have been, I don't know where he was. He was at a strip club, something. Like, it takes him forever to get to this place. There's thousands of times they could have shot Bruce and killed him. Thousands of times they could kill everyone else, and nothing makes sense. They just continually walk around this, a circle of this farm, looking for these guys, getting killed one by one. There's no plan. Everyone's dying. And at the end of the movie, I don't know if anything.
Yeah, I mean, they do that thing that really fucking annoys me in a lot of movies, where they'll fight a bad guy, they'll kill him by strangulation or whatever, and they don't take his guns. Do you know what I mean?
How about the one scene he shot somebody in the barn and left the gun?
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, hey, the script
And
says
then
I
they
can't
run
have
away.
one.
They scurry away, don't they? Like naughty school kids when they've killed.
None of that. They run out the door where two guys are out there armed and just run past them.
And to add insult to injury in this whole thing, that the lead bad guy, who they're all waiting for, looks about 15 years old when he turns up. He looks like he's auditioning for In Sync or something. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, and the one guy who we've had as a bad guy before in in the worst movie we've seen to date, being Out of Death. We get him back. Look, he's serviceable. He at least knows the
Michael
role.
Ciro.
He's good.
Hey,
Michael Ciro. Well, he's pretty good. Also, Zach Ward, our redheaded punk from Christmas Vacation, or Christmas Story, fucking loved him.
And he does actually say, "You're killing me, Smalls," in it as well.
He is actually chewing up the scenery and having fun in this bullshit
He's in a
movie.
different movie.
He's the fun part. Basically, this movie, which we don't know, this is actually a sequel to A Christmas Story, the original sequel. This is what happens to Scott. He doesn't turn his life around. He gets into some troubles, and he becomes a ne'er-do-well in some random city in America doing random drug stuff. And the crew they put together is basically the Hot Topics version of the YMCA people. Like, none of these people fit together as fucking gangsters.
No.
This is one of those things where, like, there's no costume department. They're like, hey, wear something you think would be a badass. I did not know that Erica, whatever her name is, she was Playmate back in the 90s. She married the bass player for Motley Crue, Nikki Sixx. And when I actually clicked on her face, on her thing,
she was a band. I thought she was a burn victim.
I thought they were two different people. Like, I mean, everyone in this film, all the females, have had some kind of lip injection the day of shoot. Their lips look like they may have grabbed them off a porn set. Like, honestly, I was expecting to see, when I looked at these ladies' profiles, they had been in either some kind of porn or were in some kind of Skinamax porn at some point in their life, because they look like they were ready to be in a porno as opposed to this, whatever this was. And you know what, I'll be honest with you, I was hoping maybe we would have got a little something of that, because I was tired of being fucked. I want to see someone else get fucked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but she is a plastic surgery disaster. She looks like a burn victim.
She's terrible.
Oh, I mean, no disrespect.
A burn victim who got stung in the face by bees as well in their lips. Like, just, and then I'm supposed to believe she's a killer.
Yeah. She looks like a bulldog had licked. What's it? Like a bulldog had licked piss off a stinging nettle.
Her lips look like a prolapsed asshole, if you know what I'm saying. Over here.
Yeah, she's brutal, man.
I mean, honestly, if you were to put on that part for somebody and had it playing in the background of your store, people would pause who are of our age and be like, are you watching VHS porn? Like, because this looks like the setup to a VHS porn, like a reenactment of some movie. This is the porn copy of it.
She's aged like milk, isn't she?
Oh my
Man,
God.
any old.
She aged like a leather sofa in a fucking hobo camp. That thing was just fucking brutal. Nikki Sixx is like, whew, he got the fuck out of there.
So yeah, basically we're in a situation where, I mean, special shout out to Sean Kanan from Karate Kid 3, the Mohawk dude. He's great.
He was good. He was good too, yeah.
So you've got the English guy.
He and Zach, yeah, those three were
They're
actually
kind of funny.
Again, like we talked about before. Should have been a buddy cop
use
movie.
those guys.
Right? Like these three guys should have their own thing. Just who cares what the rest of it's about?
The other British guy, Simon Phillips, his name is. His name is English, isn't it? So, it's imaginative, but he's been in a bunch of stuff too. Yeah, Simon Phillips, the British dude. Him and Sean Kanan, Ed and English, and the villain dude, Michael Cera.
Michael Cera over here.
So Frank, Ed, and English, they're the best thing about it, man.
It could have been a Precious Cargo moment. We had some funny guys who knew what they were doing. The extra people they brought in and the rest of the stuff that was happening was just dog shit. It was just absolutely ridiculously dog shit.
A lot of the fight scenes, the punch-ups, are so badly filmed. I did pick up my phone a couple of times because I didn't know who was who. You know, there's people being thrown around, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Did you care?
There's one of the henchmen, one of the renter thugs. He actually looks like Sven Temmel. So I was he's got a bit of a man bun. So at certain points, I'm like, what? Has Cal switched sides? I'm like, what's going on?
And then Cal does his best Rambo in the fucking weeds or whatever it was. They all go together. And then for some reason, he becomes the Predator. Like he's John Rambo in Rambo 2 when we talked about it. He's covered himself in mud. He's murking people left and right, not taking weapons. It just is
so
absolutely
you've got this rogues gallery of terrible henchmen shown up to this guy's cabin in the woods, I suppose, or farm fucking house. And the cop and the suicidal guy team up. Could have been fun. Got a cop on the edge. A cop on the edge and a suicide.
If the army meant something, though, him being in the military meant, like, if all of a sudden they were in that bar and he's like, I've got an arsenal.
Exactly.
Could have been fun.
Nothing.
He had nothing. He had a shotgun, and he couldn't even use that.
No. So you got a cop on the edge and a fucking suicidal war veteran who's lost his family.
And by war veteran, we mean he was really, anyone's ever seen Saving Private Ryan, he's the guy with the typewriters when they get on the beach. He's in clerical.
You've got these two guys, they team up. That could have been fun. They've got to rescue Bruce Willis from this rogues gallery of gimpy renter thugs. In itself, you could do something with that.
You could, but someone said, how's this not a sequel to Survive the Night? It's the same plot premise. They just keep chasing each other around this fucking estate that no one can seem to find each other.
The most inept fight scenes you've ever seen filmed.
There was one I did enjoy, but other than that, there was the one with the car where they crash into each other in the car, and it's Chad Michael Murray's kind of coming to the fight out front. For me, one of the better parts of the film was that. Other than that, I mean, really, it really is just kind of... None of it makes sense. Chad Michael Murray, I mean, look, we're going to talk about Bruce in a second. We can make fun of Bruce. Yeah, we've had him before. He's been in One Tree Hill. He's, you know what? He's the guy who's going to be in this world. This is where he's going to be.
This is where he belongs.
When you become famous on a CW over here in America, you're destined for the STD world.
This kind of thing. Yeah.
This is where
he was striving for.
But he can't act for shit.
No. Well, he's... You know,
I mean, he can't even emote emotion for his wife and daughter being killed. Like, he can't even get sad about that.
He hasn't got,
and the sad thing is it's his real wife in real life. He can't pretend that she is dead. Like, he's kind of like, I don't know.
He hasn't got great range, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're saying. But, you know, he's a bit of a bonehead. But I'm kind of... I didn't mind him.
He's got the range of a weather vane rooster, all right? He just spins around in directions. His range.
Well, being harsh. But quite frankly, you're probably right. So that's it, really, isn't it? You've just got this long...
There's the movie.
It's all sort of in relatively, like, real time, isn't it?
Yeah.
To an extent. It sort of it does zip along, but that's because it is one continuous chase scene around a farmhouse. And you are just thinking... There was one moment I looked at the runtime and it was 43 minutes in and I thought, I don't know if I can do this. But I did it. God damn it. I did it. I did it for you good people. We did it.
We did it because he lost his family in a car accident and he's a veteran, so we can do it for them.
So much ado about nothing.
It's very, very inept. honestly, I like to do my little fun plots, but honestly, there's no plot. We don't know why any of the events are happening. None of the events
We
need
have a
to happen.
situation. We don't have a plot.
And even the situation is made up. It's just like, okay, these two cops have had enough. They're going to crack down. There's no backup. There's just these two. He doesn't ever call for backup when the whole thing's going down. They shopping mall, chase each other in shopping carts, or as you call them, trolleys. They're just slowly going after each other. They're chasing each other very cautiously.
True.
It's a very cautious chase sequence. Seatbelts are worn, signals are used, the proper, they get the right of way. It's a very safe and courteous chase sequence to a man's farm who is just trying to day drink himself away while listening to some aggressive rock music. So you know that he's moody.
At least this one has got a bit of a soundtrack, though, hasn't it? You got a bit of hip hop. You got a bit of old school rhythm and blues.
You do.
You've got the old slide guitars.
Well, they've got this hard hip hop that sounds a little bit like DMX, and yet it's during this chase sequence they're going like 2 miles an hour. Like it just doesn't. The images and the music just don't work. It'd have been better if every time they cut out. This would have been fun, right? What if they just go with this as a comedy? Right? They're like, I know what we're making. What if in the editing they just, when they punch out to the wide shots of these things moving, of these cars barely traveling at the speed of anything, it just became like grocery store elevator music, right? Like just like a little easy listening jazz, you know what I mean? It
does come across like a spoof of the genre, so.
Yes. Even how the bad guy plays it. Michael Cero over here from The Sopranos, adjacent. He's playing it as if he's a bad guy in, like the bad guy in Princess Bride. He's playing it as if he knows he's this villain.
Well, he is. He's the Alan Rickman of the piece.
Yes,
and he's going for it. He's going all
this.
out.
He is. Because you know what? He lost his mayor job the last time he was in. He's like, I'm not doing that again, all right? Some broad's not taking me out of an upstairs basement. Upstairs attic. Yeah, the upstairs basement. It's just a fucking farcical tomfoolery.
Yeah, but
it could have been Precious Cargo because we do have some funny people in it. When they were on screen, did help get through, even though in what they were doing made no sense, did help them get through to the next irrational action piece to get back to them. Like it did help further along. Like, how about this? We watched an action movie and the best part was the stuff that wasn't the action. So when we got some of these other guys you've mentioned on screen just saying ridiculous things, and then Bruce.
Well, some of the talky stuff is quite funny, but the action is just so badly shot that you're just like, well, I don't even know who's who in this situation, and so I'm not that invested. And then there's Bruce. Then there's Bruce, David Watson?
Detective David Watson, a 30-year veteran who has somehow fucked over the family of the guy who's the boss, and we don't know why or how. But he wants him dead, or kind of dead, or maybe wants to make love to him. I don't know. He didn't really say in the movie, but he did get his hair frosted, so he had frosted tips. So he looked pretty cool for his MySpace photo. I think they got this crew put together on MySpace. I think this used to be a band. But Bruce is, I don't even know. I honestly don't know. There's moments of him, but I don't know. Like you said, there's the as I told you in the notes, there's the scene with English, because, hey, what's he from England? We'll call him English. That's what we'll do. So we got English. And when they're doing the little thing, he's pretty good. But there's that moment where like Bruce is talking shit, he's going to get out of the chair, and he gets out slowly, and he goes towards him, and then he gets back into the chair. Like, I almost thought like Bruce was like,
when he's swinging the chair, what was
that?
that?
I sit back down. I don't know. It was all improvised.
Of course.
I don't know.
Of course, yeah.
I think he farted and wanted to fan it towards
Maybe.
him.
But I was
We
like,
just didn't hear
I
it.
thought you were then going to break the chair over him, and there's going to be a.
I thought you were going to throw the chair at him.
through the window so he could escape. I don't know. I expected somebody just swinging a chair.
Well, he got shot in the gut. He should be unable to move, but when he needs to move, well, he is fucking, I ain't got time to bleed. He's fucking Jesse the Body German Predator. I ain't got time to bleed. He's fucking, this is how you know he's got an earpiece, and he's just not himself anymore. It's so noticeable now. He just randomly yells like an old man who's been startled. Get your fucking hands off of me. Out of the blue. You're like, and then the guy doesn't, and then it doesn't go any further. He's just, get your fucking hands off of me. Is the soup ready? I gotta poop myself.
And realistically, as you said,
well, I do.
You could have just shot him at the beginning of the movie. You'd have the same movie.
Yes. He doesn't add anything to he gets to do a few action moments. Well, look, we should take our hat off to that. At least he does some action things, but he's a fish out of water in this thing. Like, the aphasia is it's at the surface now. Like, his moments of, he just yells, and most of it's just overreaction.
But there's a few scenes, actually, I noticed where you hear his voice from a moment from another scene, where they've just reused a line from another scene. That happens a few times, where they're just trying to, they're just trying to fill the movie up with stuff because otherwise, without it, it's kind of like the narrative is all fucking thrown off. But yeah, so this is not one of his finest moments.
In a review I didn't put in, a guy goes, saying you've got Bruce Willis in one of these movies like saying you have catering on set. Neither one of them are doing any acting.
That's pretty good.
It is. It's just, it's sad. It's sad. Someone should have stepped in. He should not be in. And at this time, he should have stopped making movies. The last awake movie he was in was Breach. The last movie he was in that we've seen so far, where he's awake and looks like he's actually putting a performance and having a good time doing so, was Breach. Breach, he was
I'm
spectacular.
still hopeful.
In
though.
comparison.
I'm still hopeful.
And now it's just Bruce looking bewildered in the scenes when they go back to reaction shots, sitting down a lot, and then yelling like he's a frightened
Here's what
old
I
man.
think.
Like he's been
Here's what I'm
startled.
hoping for. I haven't really looked into this, but I'm hoping that in some of the
In the next 17?
in some of the upcoming movies, if he's got someone like a Thomas Jane to bounce off of, I think he'll up his game. But when he's with a bunch of nobodies, he's like, what's the fucking point? No one's going to see this. If he's in a scene with a Thomas Jane or a John Cusack or a Jason Patrick, Frank Grillo, he might raise his game, hopefully. But I don't know who's in these movies we've got upcoming.
Well, the one that Mr. O'Connell mentioned, the
prison.
We'll see it in season 3. Yeah, the prison one. It's got John Malkovich in it as well.
Ooh, wow.
So I'm hoping that might. And he said it's one of the ones he liked the most. So it may be one of the ones we actually finally are excited. But next month, as we close out season 2, we are back in Sci-Fi Fair. We're back at Apex. Apex is the next one, so it's sci-fi. So we've had some decent. They had the 2 this year. We know obviously Breach probably going to be at this point the Brucey winner. I'm just gonna go on a limb. And Cosmic Sin have been decent. They have been decent movies for him to be in.
Well, not to jump ahead too much, but Apex, right?
Yes, next.
With Neil McDonough from Band of Brothers, Captain America, I think. Corey Large.
Corey's back. And actually, I do believe our boys are back. We've got quite a few movies coming up from that team because I know they do. We've got a couple. Like Gasoline Alley might be one. They do the Detective Night. Like we have a few of them down the road where that group of Corey Large and company, they are responsible for the writing, the directing of a lot of those films. So that could be something. You know what I mean? We've enjoyed what they've done. Edward Drake is the other guy. So Drake and Corey, they did Breach. They wrote that together. They directed Cosmic Sin. They're directing and writing Apex. We've got them in season 3 for American Siege, Gasoline Alley, and then we get them for the Detective Night trilogy, as well as they wrote Paradise City, the movie that has John Travolta in it.
Right.
So I'm not saying these are going to be amazing films, but they at least have brought something to the table of what we've been watching lately, right? Like they've at least had some interesting lines. They've tried some things. So
well, I'm just going to say now, maybe I'm hoping that the next movie, Apex, you've got a decent few cast members in that,
and we got that team together.
Yeah,
so maybe that could be something.
What I'm saying, I'm mainly saying about Bruce himself in the company of these guys and with some decent actors. Perhaps this is when he raises his game. Whereas films like films like this, Surviving the Game, he's like, well, no one's going to see this. I'm hardly in it. No one knows any of these other pricks. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I'm hoping that like I say, that the decent cast and the decent people behind the scenes makes him give a bit more of a shit.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too.
And actually, English is in Apex as well. Hey,
is he?
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, look, I'm hopeful because I want to see more Breach. When you read the reviews of these, and I get it, they talk shit about all these movies, and it's fair because if you're doing this not like we do it, then yeah, these are some stark, troubling movies. But if you're doing like we've been doing this whole journey, there are some fun B movies that we've gotten out of it. As we've already mentioned, Precious Cargo and Breach, they're not great films if just on their own. But in this catalog we're going through, they're fun.
Yeah,
I've had some good times with them.
Yeah.
With some of these films.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. This one should have, as we've said on a lot of them, if only they would have gone for a bit of blood and guts, some boobs, perhaps.
Yes, a little wham bam, thank you, ma'am, something.
Just something
because I don't know who these movies are made for anymore. They're not made for. I don't even want to hear that they're made for overseas anymore because they're not. Because they're giving the overseas audience nothing. There's nothing. It's not even exploitive. There's nothing. It's just Tom Dick foolery.
Yeah, they just play it. They play it so safe with the action that it's just like it is. I've seen more violent episodes of bog standard TV.
I've seen more violent episodes of the Jerry Springer Show. I've seen more tits and ass and violence on Jerry Springer than these dog shit movies.
You make a valid point. So yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah. So look, I think at the end of the day, folks, you understand that these movies is where we hide our drugs, where we wash our sex trafficking money from those EFO fucks. Still waiting for them to reach out and get their asses kicked by us for charity.
We're ready. I've been in training.
I'm in charge, okay? I'm put my foot down. I'm saying what's happening.
What you're gonna do is put that gun down.
Oh, yeah? When you come make me put it down?
I'm gonna have to kill you.
Stop saying that. Stop saying. Hey, no. I was joking. So sit your ass down on the chair. Come on, now, come on. We've done this.
Just give me the gun.
Now listen, until Frank gets back, I'm in charge. That's the deal, okay? So you park your ass on that chair, and then we're all gonna be mates.
You wanna sit down?
I do wanna sit down, yeah.
Have a cup of tea. Just give me the pacifier.
I'm only sitting down if you sit down.
I'll be happy to sit down.
I'm probably just gonna like squat so that I'm ready, you know, for anything. Like a panther.
All right, let's jump into our final thoughts on this spectacular outing here at the beginning of 2025 as you listen.
Favorite scene.
Now, we start with, of course, our favorite scene. Now, I will jump in first because I'll give my esteemed cohort a chance to mull this over because I know there's a plethora, as they say, to choose from.
myriad.
Yes. Ooh, I might have to play that
Play that jingle.
right now.
Why are you talking like this? This is ridiculous. There's two groups of people who talk like this. The first group of people is people without an education, and they feel badly about it, right? They're hung up about their lack of education, and so they're making some kind of a really overt attempt here to be an intellectual. Well, I feel sorry for you if that's the case, and that's too bad, and you ought to, book a session with a psychologist and get over it. There's just no time to be playing this game. This is ridiculous.
Now, for me, the fight outside the cars I earlier mentioned with CMM, as he's known here on the show, as he's trying to get his wits about him, and it ends with him knocking out Violet by bashing her in the face with butt of a shotgun. As I've told you before, these movies, if they do one thing, it's beat women up any chance they get. That's another thing. Clearly, they're very misogynistic. The women taking, look at equal opportunity ass whooping, I guess we could say. Equal rights for equal fights. I guess that's what they're going for here. I actually like the way they shot that. They stayed just on him. Everything else is happening on the peripheral. So they're fighting, rolling around, punching. He's fighting the girl, and then she kind of comes into the window and he hits her with a shotgun. I was like, that's the best sequence I got in the whole time. That was it. If the rest of the film had this love and care in it, I'm like, all right, we might have something, but we got nothing, in my opinion, better than that moment. Mr. Smith, what is your choice for greatest scene?
Well, when Eric Chad Michael Murray, yeah.
CMM.
I think when he gets the shotgun at the end and he blows up the cars and lets loose with the shotgun. When the action sort of gets, when it's time to wrap things up and people need to die, I think that's the best moment for me. Is like it almost made everything else worthwhile. Where he lets loose.
He was trying.
Yeah, he lets loose with a shotgun. He starts blowing shit up and blowing people through doors and shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I paid for. That's what we're here for. So yeah, really, just the kind of end act.
Blowing people through doors. There's a glory hole. I missed that scene.
You know what? I mean. He did blow that guy though, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that.
No, I wasn't either. It's like, you have a choice.
Yeah, just the end action sequence where it all picks up and they need to wrap shit up. That's when I was. Yeah. That's when I was at my most enthusiastic.
Because you knew the credits were coming soon. You're like, yeah, we're done. I can get a wank off before I get some winks. Hey, over here.
Best one-liner.
All right, best one-liner. Now, listen, I don't know if it's the best one-liner, but it's just the way it's delivered. It makes no fucking sense. But our man Michael Cero over here says to Detective Watson, you and I were the same. And he says, I'm nothing like you. I got shot today. I'm tied up, and you still hit like a bitch. Sure, it was confused ramblings of a man with aphasia, and somehow it was endearing to me. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, Bruce. I don't think I've given you a line in a while. Today, then maybe your shining moment in this film. I'm nothing like you. I got shot today. I'm tied up, and you hit like a bitch. It's like a weird grocery list. He's just like, okay, here's something I'm going to say. Say this.
A valid point,
Mr. Smith, what do you got?
Mine is a little exchange between Ed and English, where English calls Ed a hillbilly. Ed says, I'm not a hillbilly, I'm a redneck. And English says, what's the difference? And he says, rednecks don't sleep with their sisters, or something like that. That was about it.
Yep.
That was it.
It was
The
a good
best
one.
I could.
I guess I could have watched the whole movie on those guys.
Exactly.
We don't need to see CMF. We don't need to see Bruce. You can put them off to the
Fuck
side.
that shit.
Best performance.
All right, best performance. I might surprise my co-host here. I'm going with Christmas Story alum turned badass Gen X fucking Bonnie and Clyde, Zach Ward as Mickey. As Mickey is chewing up the scenery, having fun the entire time. If we could have had him, Michael Cero, Ed in English, all that could have been a thing. That'd have been a great. We would have had a fun movie. It would have been a fun movie. Yeah, been a fun movie. When we could if Burkhart could have been pulled off to the sidelines, we could have had those guys together, walking around talking shit to strippers. Bam. We would have had a great time. But we didn't. But I loved Zach Ward as Mickey. Yeah, he's over the top. But this is a B movie. He's just like, fuck it. I'm going for this. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it. And he absolutely had a lot of fun doing it. And I enjoyed him when he was on screen. Mr. Smith, what do you got?
It's got to be our boy Cero. Michael Cero. Best performance,
he was good.
I think.
He was number
Frank.
2 for me. He was second.
He's totally doing the Alan Rickman in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves thing. Every cliche.
But doing it well. But I mean, doing it well.
He's doing it with great.
These would normally get laughs if the rest of the cast knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, he's doing it with great aplomb. He is our man. He is inside the Actors Studio alumni. He is
Yes.
James Lipton. I'm telling you, he'd be fucking all over this guy. Where have you been? So he's the one. He's the one.
Favorite character.
So for favorite character, he's my favorite character. I like Mickey, but Michael Cero as our technical bad guy. I liked him a lot. He was having fun. He was just an enjoyable character. I thought he was decent in the last movie. So when we saw the worst movie, Out of Death, but again, like we said, that was shot during COVID. Bruce is barely there, and I think there's like 25 pages of Bruce's dialogue that's gone that they didn't film. So I felt like he was working his way in. I felt like he finally got his chance to shine in this film. And he was a very good bad guy. We've had him and I forgot our other boy's name, but we've had some decent bad guys.
Yeah,
this year.
there's been a few that made it.
Some good juicy villains.
Yeah, that made it worthwhile.
Unfortunately, the movies they were in weren't great, but they could have been something. So I give it to Mr. Michael Cero's character. Why am I blanking on his name?
Frank. So he's your favorite character.
I gave it to Frank.
Right.
Frank's my favorite character.
So my favorite character is Ed, played by Sean Kanan, who. It took me a while to figure out he was the guy from Karate Kid 3, and I think he shows up in Cobra Kai as well, actually.
He probably does. They brought everyone back for that series.
He's got a Mohican in this, and even just the way he delivered his lines, because that's what made me look him up, was you are too good for this. You're slumming it. You're clearly... So performance is, I had to give it to Michael Cero, but... character, he's Ed, everything, because literally everything Ed says is funny.
Even when he's talking shit to himself.
Yeah, exactly. When he's talking to himself or when he's talking to someone else, he's worth the price of admission himself. So I'm going to go for Ed, played by Sean Kanan.
Well, there you go. So it now brings us to our moment of fucking truth.
The moment of truth.
And we start with, did Mr. Willis drop a deuce or a Bruce? Even though I did say he had a very fun moment in that scene with the dialogue, and he does get to do some more action than we've seen him do in a while, it's vacant. For me, it's a deuce. Steve said earlier, if he's not in the film, doesn't change the plot. It changes nothing about the plot. Him being shot is just the catalyst for him to leave that fucking warehouse. That's all it is. And yeah, he's just there for, I guess, to be tortured. I don't even know. I honestly, if someone can tell me what the real plot was, I don't fucking know. As much as I love Bruce, and as much as he was a little bit better than he's been, it's still, we're a long way away from a Bruce. And I've got to be honest. I know aphasia is the reason, but again, like I said a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, we don't give out fucking participation trophies here, right? So he didn't really put in a performance, and so he got a deuce from me.
He most definitely dropped a deuce.
Mr. Smith, your feelings?
Yeah, he's phoning this in big time. He doesn't even need to be in the movie. He doesn't get a lot to do, and some of it is just amateur hour. So there's more to be enthusiastic about in this movie than Bruce Willis. And that's
yes, fair.
Not good.
Very
And that's
fair
not
point.
good. That's not good. Yeah, because it's about, yeah. So unfortunately, he's phoning this in. There's not even much to phone in, and he could have done more with this. He could have done more.
He most definitely dropped a deuce.
I'm surprised that someone, Nicolas Cage has gotten all those memes on YouTube of his freakouts. I'm surprised we haven't got some of just Bruce yelling in these films.
Inappropriately yelling as well.
Yeah, just yelling. Yeah. It's fucking hands on me. Like, bro, he's barely holding you by the shoulder. He's been holding you for 30 minutes. All of a sudden, it dawns on him. Wait a minute, I think a man's holding my arm. Fucking hands on me. Is it time for lunch? Yeah, so we both agree. Again, another deuce. Oof, this is a shitfield season 2. Hey, it's not called number 2 for a reason over here. Anywho, we're jumping in to the movie. Listen, I know we probably should do a better job of being cagey about it before we start the episode, but it's kind of hard to hold our true feelings back. But it would be quite a turn of events if I just suddenly said, you know what? After this conversation, I've decided it's a Bruce. No, this fucking thing is a deuce. This is the kind of deuce that Taco Bell gives you. It tastes, at first there's some tasty parts of it, but at the end of the day, you get the bubble guts, you get the hot snakes, you take a runny, messy shit, and that's what this film is. It's a runny, messy shit. There are some fun moments in it that could have been something. It could have been a Precious Cargo. There were elements that could have made this as fun as Precious Cargo was, but it didn't reach that. And so once again, got to give this a deuce.
This film most definitely dropped a deuce.
Now, Mr. Smith, are you going to join in on my Roadhouse rating of a double deuce? Or are you going to surprise listeners and give it a Bruce?
No, this is a deuce.
This film most definitely dropped a deuce.
It's just a slog of action, which is
so weird to say.
Bad action.
I mean, the car chase alone.
Yeah, it's just people who don't really know what they're doing, and it seems like they're not even trying. They're not even trying either. So it's like everyone is just there to get there. It's like Friday afternoon, 4:00. Everyone's clocking off in the next hour. They're just doing as little as possible just to get their paycheck. Pretty much sums up.
What are you talking about? I've never done that.
So that just sums up the whole movie to me. It's just, no one gives a shit. So, but they expect us to. So I'm afraid this is yet another deuce. You know what? I'm feeling positive about the next one.
I'm hopeful because, I think we went seven or eight double deuces in a row before we reached the breach. Since breach, this will be our 4th consecutive double deuce. We will end season 2 of this series, which is crazy to think that we're about to reach the end of season 2. 24 in, still 16 to go. So we have a full season still ahead of us and then a small quarter season to finish it out. But we're getting ready to get to season 3. And, I'm a little optimistic. You can't be but at least some optimism. So we close it out next month with Apex. And then for season 3, look, we got Deadlock, Fortress, American Siege, Gasoline Alley, A Day to Die. Corrective Measures is the one we're waiting for. Then Fortress, Sniper's Eye, Vendetta, White Elephant, Wrong Place, Wire Room. We get the beginning of Detective Night series with Rogue. That closes season 3. And then for season 4, we finish with Paradise City, Detective Night Redemption, Detective Night Independence, and the final film of Bruce Willis's career, Assassin. those are the 17 ahead of us. We've got 23 in the rearview mirror.
Well, we've broken the back of it now, so.
We have. Such a strange saying from the English. Yes, we've broken that bitch's back for sure.
You brought
So-
bitch. I didn't say bitch. I just said we broke. That's a phrase. That's a phrase,
Listen,
man. That's a phrase.
it was implied in your tone. Anywho, so hey, I hope you enjoy your start to 2025 as we're a month in. I don't know. The apocalypse will be starting shortly, so stay tuned for the season 2 finale, and then we'll kick off season 3. We have our second Brucey, so we got to start. We'll be coming up with
Get
our
our
Brucey
nominations
nominations and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Jesus.
The work is
Yeah.
never done, you know. This is
Work is never done, but there's a good chance there's a landslide winner for this year's movie. We'll probably throw a couple in because we have to, but there seems to be one clear cut at the moment. But anyways, we hope you enjoy your New Year's, and we'll check you out next month. And that will do it for our 23rd episode. Please feel free to reach out to us on the show's socials, which can be found in the show notes. And tell us what you thought about this film, how you feel about Bruce as an actor, or even to let us know what you think about this podcast. We'd also greatly appreciate it if you give the show a like, leave us a review, and follow the show on the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where you can find other amazing podcasts dedicated to such iconic action stars as Stallone, Lundgren, Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, and Seagal. The link to the network can also be found in our show's notes. So won't you please join us again next month as Steve and I pull our Willis Winnebago over to close out Season 2, as we review Bruce's role in 2021 sci-fi action film Apex, to see if he dropped a deuce or if he dropped a Bruce. So until then,
Yippee Ki-Yay Motherfucker.
This has been a Man with an Exceptional Beard production.